Breaking. I need every single person in Florida to stop what they're doing right now and listen to what I'm about to tell you. Temperatures are expected to fall to or below 32 degrees for several hours across the Sunshine State, and Orlando is about to plunge to 29 degrees Fahrenheit. This isn't just cold for Florida. This is catastrophic, life-threatening, economy-destroying cold that hasn't been seen in over 1,000 days. At exactly 3 minutes and 27 seconds, I'll expose the terrifying truth about why this Arctic invasion is unlike anything Florida has faced since the devastating freezes of the 1980s. By minute 7, you'll understand why Florida's citrus production hits new record low as greening disease and extreme weather devastate crops. And at minute 12, I'm going to reveal something about your power grid that Florida Power and Light doesn't want you to know. Right now, January 17th, 2026, as you're watching this, freeze warning, in effect late Thursday through Friday morning for all of Central Florida, except coastal Brevard. But this isn't your typical Florida cold snap where you throw on a light jacket and complain about the weather. This is an atmospheric freight train barreling straight from the Arctic Circle to the land of palm trees and beaches. Let me paint you a picture that should absolutely terrify every Floridian watching. A steady northwest breeze will push wind chill values into the low to mid-20s, making it feel even colder. 20 degrees in Florida. That's not just uncomfortable, that's deadly for a state where most homes don't have proper insulation, where pipes run through exterior walls, where heating systems were never designed for Arctic conditions. Temperatures will feel well below freezing, with feels-like temps in the low teens, trying to extend their reach into southern Georgia just to the north of the Florida-Georgia state line. The low teens. Do you understand what that means? That's frostbite territory. That's hypothermia conditions. That's death for the unprepared in the Sunshine State. Here's what they're desperately trying to hide from you. According to the government agency, total orange production in Florida is expected to drop to a new record low of 12 million 90-pound boxes. That's not just bad for farmers, that's catastrophic for Florida's entire economy. We're talking about a $7 billion citrus industry on the verge of complete collapse. Drop your exact location in the comments right now, because where you live in Florida will determine whether you're facing frost, hard freeze, or agricultural apocalypse. Miami might escape with just cold rain, but Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, you're ground zero for this Arctic assault. Temperatures will absolutely plummet when the first major winter system that's expected to drag that dense but shallow layer of Arctic air south. This isn't gradual cooling. This is atmospheric shock therapy that your body, your home, and your community are completely unprepared for. Now here's the smoking gun that proves this isn't natural. Warming in the Arctic weakens the jet stream, allowing cold air to leak southward. The Arctic is literally broken, and Florida is about to pay the price. Florida's flat terrain offers no barrier to cold fronts, meaning when Arctic air decides to visit, nothing stops it. Let me tell you about the last time temperatures hit 29 degrees in Orlando. It was January 2018, and the damage was catastrophic. Power grids failed. Water mains exploded. Thousands of families huddled in warming centers because their homes became uninhabitable. But that was just one night. This event is forecast to last multiple days. A prolonged freeze can damage the fruit, it can damage the buds, and it can damage young trees in general, so it can be pretty catastrophic, Bevilacqua said. That's a third-generation citrus grower telling you this isn't just about losing some oranges. This is about losing an entire generation of trees. But wait. It gets worse. Much worse. Sub-freezing temperatures lasting several hours are rare for this region, increasing the risk to exposed pipes, sensitive plants, and pets. Your pipes aren't insulated for this. They're barely covered, running through crawl spaces and attics where cold air will turn water to ice in minutes. When water freezes, it expands with 2,000 pounds per square inch of pressure. Your copper pipes are rated for 200 psi. Do the math. We're looking at a tsunami of burst pipes across Central Florida that will make previous freeze events look like practice runs. Because most homes in Orlando lack insulation or heating systems designed for cold, even a brief freeze can cause burst pipes and power outages. Most homes, not some, most. Florida building codes never anticipated Arctic air penetrating this far south. Your walls are basically decorative barriers with no real thermal protection. Here's what's happening right now that should have you running to prepare. A cold and raw, wind-driven rain will impact most of the region, with Marion, Alachua, and northern Flagler counties seeing icy conditions overnight into Wednesday morning. Icy conditions. In Florida. Farther north, significant icing from freezing rain, sleet, and even snow is expected in Gainesville and surrounding areas. Snow. In Gainesville. If that doesn't wake you up to the severity of this event, nothing will. We're even monitoring trends indicating snow could come down as far south as the central and southern plains, maybe scraping into the upper Gulf Coast states. Now let me reveal what the power companies don't want you to know. Florida's electrical grid is designed for hurricanes, not Arctic blasts. Transformers filled with oil rated for tropical temperatures will thicken like molasses in sub-freezing conditions. Circuit breakers calibrated for heat will malfunction in extreme cold. When transformers fail in 29-degree weather, they don't just stop working, they explode. The oil inside becomes too viscous to circulate, heat builds up despite the cold air, and boom, entire neighborhoods lose power with no hope of quick restoration. Polk County is under a freeze watch from late Thursday night into Friday morning, with temperatures forecast to drop to around 24 degrees Fahrenheit. 24 degrees in Polk County. That's not just orange-killing cold, that's infrastructure-destroying cold. Here's your survival timeline for the next 72 hours. Tonight, Thursday, January 17th, temperatures begin their death spiral after sunset. If you haven't prepared by 6 p.m., you're too late. Stores will be stripped bare. Gas stations will run dry. ATMs will be empty. Friday morning, January 18th, the killing freeze arrives. Temperatures are expected to fall to or below 32 degrees for several hours. Those several hours are when pipes burst, plants die, and lives change forever. Friday afternoon. Don't be fooled by sunshine. Despite plenty of sunshine, temperatures struggle to warm. Afternoon highs only reach the upper 50s to mid-60s. That's still 20 degrees below normal. Black ice will form on any wet surface. Saturday. Brief respite, but don't get comfortable. By Saturday, southerly flow returns and temperatures rebound into the upper 60s and low 70s under mostly sunny skies. Sunday into Monday, the second wave hits. Another cold front moves through Sunday with a low chance of showers. Gusty northwest winds usher in another surge of cold air, bringing the potential for freezing temperatures and sub-30 wind chills again by Monday morning. Now here's what every Floridian needs to do right now. Pipes. Wrap every exposed pipe with insulation or towels immediately. Open cabinet doors under sinks. Let all faucets drip continuously, not just a drop, a steady stream. Know where your water main shutoff is located. When pipes burst at 3 a.m., you have seconds, not minutes, to prevent flooding. Plants. One of the most devastating environmental stresses to citrus trees is a freeze event. However, citrus trees are vigorous and can recover quickly from cold damage if given proper and timely care. Cover everything with blankets, tarps, or plastic. Build frames to keep coverings off plants. Direct contact increases freeze damage. Heating. Space heaters will be your lifeline, but never use ovens or grills for indoor heating. Carbon monoxide poisoning spikes during Florida cold snaps. More Floridians die from carbon monoxide than freezing. Your oven is not a heater. Your grill belongs outside, always. Pets. Bring them inside, period. No exceptions. Florida pets aren't acclimated to cold. What would be uncomfortable for a Minnesota dog could kill a Florida dog. If you see animals left outside, call authorities immediately. Generators. If you have one, test it now. Outside placement only, at least 20 feet from any window or door. Carbon monoxide is heavier than air and will flow into your home like invisible death. The agricultural devastation will be immediate and generational. Then, after near-record output in the 2003-04 season, subsequent events decreased Florida's orange output at an average rate of 6% a year. This freeze event could accelerate that decline catastrophically. Citrus trees under drought stress are also more susceptible to freeze damage. After our dry winter, trees are already stressed. This freeze is hitting when they're most vulnerable, guaranteeing maximum destruction. You need temperatures down to about 28 or 29 degrees for 3 to 6 hours before you really start to see fruit damage. That's exactly what we're facing. Not marginal cold, not borderline freezing. We're talking about sustained, fruit-destroying, tree-killing cold. Here's what the citrus industry doesn't want you to know. Valencia and non-Valencia oranges, as well as grapefruit, are expected to be 1 million boxes short this season. That's before this freeze. After Friday morning, those projections become fantasy. We're looking at potential total crop loss in exposed groves. To protect crops and other sensitive vegetation, Bevilacqua said irrigation is being used to coat trees with water, forming an insulating ice layer around the fruit. As the water hits the tree, it emits heat, keeping the tree at 32 degrees while it is colder than that in the air. But here's the problem. That technique only works down to about 28 degrees. Below that, you're just creating ice sculptures of dead orange trees. And we're heading below that threshold. The real estate implications are staggering. Insurance companies are already reassessing Florida property risks. Homes without proper insulation, heating systems, or pipe protection will become uninsurable. Property values in freeze-prone areas will plummet as buyers realize Florida's subtropical paradise has Arctic asterisks. Residents in Orlando, Kissimmee, and Tampa should prepare for at least 1 or 2 freeze warnings between December 2025 and February 2026. This isn't a one-time event. This is the new normal. The jet stream has shifted, and Florida is now in the Arctic crosshairs. Power companies are implementing rolling blackouts, not because of demand, but because equipment is failing in temperatures it was never designed to handle. Transformers rated for 95-degree summers are shutting down at 29 degrees. The grid is literally freezing to death. Natural gas supplies, already strained from northern demand, can't handle Florida suddenly needing real heating. Pressure drops are causing pilot lights to fail. When your heat stops working at 3 a.m. with temperatures in the 20s, you have minutes to implement Plan B or face hypothermia. Here's a statistic that should terrify every Floridian. In the 2010 cold snap, temperatures dropped to 35 degrees Fahrenheit in some areas, killing tropical fish and damaging agriculture. That was 35 degrees. We're heading for 29. The ecological destruction will be unprecedented. Your tropical landscaping? Dead. Those palm trees that define Florida? Many species can't survive sustained temperatures below 32. The iguana population? They'll be falling from trees like oversized hail. The entire ecosystem of South Florida is about to experience a mass extinction event. But here's the most terrifying part. This is just the beginning. The National Weather Service predicts a cooler than average winter for the southeast due to La Niña conditions, which often amplify cold air outbreaks. What we're experiencing now is the opening act of a winter that could redefine what's possible in Florida weather. While the upcoming cold snap is significant, whether it breaks any records will depend on the specific temperature readings in different locations. Track local news updates from weather forecasters to find out if records are being broken in your area during the Arctic blast. Florida. Records will be broken. The only question is by how much. The last official freeze in Miami was in 1977, nearly 50 years ago. Miami might escape freezing this time, but the fact we're even discussing the possibility shows how extreme this event is. Emergency management is activating protocols designed for Category 5 hurricanes. Warming centers are opening statewide. The National Guard is pre-positioning resources. This isn't weather preparation. This is disaster preparation. Food supplies will disappear from stores within hours, not days, hours. Floridians panic buy water for hurricanes, but this freeze requires different supplies. Blankets, warm clothing, space heaters, pipe insulation. Items most Florida stores barely stock. When they're gone, they're gone. Transportation will become impossible in North Florida if freezing rain materializes as forecast. Florida drivers who can't handle rain will face ice. The carnage on I-75, I-4, and I-95 will be unprecedented. Stay home or become a statistic. Here's the economic tsunami nobody's calculating. When Florida oranges disappear, prices nationwide skyrocket. Your morning juice will double in price. Citrus-dependent industries will collapse. The ripple effects will impact every American breakfast table. Tourism, Florida's economic lifeblood, will hemorrhage billions. Who vacations in Orlando when it's 29 degrees? When theme park water rides are drained to prevent freeze damage? When beach resorts are battening down against Arctic winds instead of welcoming sun-seekers? The psychological impact on Floridians will be profound. This isn't just cold weather. This is an existential crisis for a state whose entire identity revolves around warmth and sunshine. When paradise freezes, what's left? This January has been way colder than usual, with temperatures falling into the 30s and 40s in the mornings and struggling to get into the 50s and 60s by the afternoon. Orlando isn't the only Florida city chilling out. The entire state is under Arctic assault. Here's your final warning. In the next 48 hours, Florida will experience temperatures that shouldn't be possible. 29 degrees in Orlando isn't just a number. It's a civilization-threatening event for a state built on the promise of eternal summer. Your pipes will burst if unprotected. Your tropical plants will die without cover. Your citrus industry will suffer generational damage. Your power grid will fail in ways nobody anticipated. Your very way of life is under Arctic assault. But you still have time. Barely. The next 6 hours determine whether you're a victim or a survivor of Florida's frozen apocalypse. Every minute you waste scrolling instead of preparing is a minute closer to disaster. Orlando at 29 degrees isn't weather, it's warfare. The Arctic has declared war on Florida, and we're losing. The only question is, will you be ready when the killing freeze arrives? Because it's coming, tonight, and Florida will never be the same.